Hello everyone and welcome back to another Fusion 360 tutorial. So we're going to pick up right where we left off on creating the robot, and this episode we're going to be learning some more best practices and some more skills that you can just have in your tool belt for creating shapes. So we're going to be working on the robot legs to start with. So to begin with, again, remember best practice to activate that component specifically when we're working in it. So what we can do now is first we'll think, how do we want the legs to be shaped? Well, personally, I think the robot should have some very square-shaped bell bottoms. Maybe that's not a popular choice, but I personally think square-shaped bell bottoms are very in style right now. So we're going to be doing that with a couple different tools. The construction plane and the loft tool are the primary ones for that. So to start with, we're going to create an offset plane. That's the default tool on the toolbar in the construct section. So I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to click on the plane of the sketch that the start of the legs are on. So I'm going to click right there. And now I can choose whatever distance I want to be the distance for that plane. So, how tall do we want the legs to be? I haven't decided an actual exact number. We can just eyeball it. I think that's about good for legs. And then I just press OK. And now we have a plane right there. And we can use that plane for whatever we want. So in this case, we're going to create a sketch. So now we have a sketch. And then let's see how we're viewing it from the top. We don't want to do that because we want to see it. We want to see the offset plane in front of the already created body. Whereas if it were from the top, we'd be seeing the body and the sketch, but if it's from the bottom, then we'll see the plane. So to start with, the first thing we're going to do is we want to create the base of the legs. So if I wanted to do that, oh, is that centered on the circle? I don't know. We don't know. So I'm going to press Control Z, Control Z, undo it twice, because we don't know if that's centered on the circle. How do we find out if it's centered on the circle? Well, that's something called project. So what we're going to do, go over to the Create menu, and then go down, and then press Project Include. There's a couple different tools we can use. Intersect allows you to take a body that's been created, and then take that and put just the intersection into the sketch plane. But we don't want that because nothing is intersecting this plane. So what we want is Create Project. So we're going to project. We could do this whole sketch, but we're just going to project these two circles because that's all we need right now. And then in this case, we're going to keep the projection link on. Basically, the projection link means can you edit it after doing this? If we turn it off, it means we can edit it, we can change it, whatever. If projection link is on, it will stay exactly how the original sketch was. So we want that. So I'm just going to press OK. Now we have these two circles. So both of these, they're awesome, they're perfect, but they're not perfect because we because they show up as geometry, which isn't ideal, and we'll get to why, but that's okay for now. So what I'm going to do, say I want the legs to bow out a little bit, because I think I do. In that case, I will take this rectangle, I'll take the rectangle tool, and I will put it right here. Again, this is not perfect because, I mean, you can see why. It's a little far away. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use some constraints. So to start with, I'm going to use the tangent constraint. The tangent constraint means that whatever line I select will touch the circle I select only at one point. So if you zoom in, it's only touching at one point. As you can see, it's actually a little off because of the rendering of Fusion. But the way that it calculates it, it's only touching at the one point. Now, say I want the legs to be equal distance here. In that case, there's multiple ways to go about it, but the way that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a construction line from here down to here. Actually, no, sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a construction line from here to from the center of the circle right to the top, and then from the center of the circle right to the bottom. And then I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to press equal. And now we can drag this however we want to see how big we want the legs to be. I'm going to go like there. And then over here, we can see how we want that. So I'm going to set a dimension for this so that it's defined, so that it can't move anymore. And then I can set it to whatever I want. I'm going to set it a little higher, maybe about 25. I like that. And then I'm also going to set a dimension for one of these. Remember, we don't have to do both, the top and the bottom, because they're set as equal. So now that it's all black, that means that we can't edit it anymore unless we edit one of the constraints. So I'm going to set this constraint a little smaller, maybe 19. I like that. And then I'm going to make a construction line down the middle. And then mirror. I'm going to take all this. We don't need to mirror this circle. See how I said it got confusing a little later? And then we select this mirror line and then press OK. Now press Finish Sketch. Perfect. So now we have the base of the legs. But now how are we going to connect that? Well, there's something called the Loft tool. So we're going to press Create and then Loft. And this lets you make a shape not from one sketch, but from two sketches. So we can go from here all the way down to here and see how it only selects the outside, what's inside the square, outside the circle. That's an issue. That's the real issue why the circle is there, because now we need to select both. And now that we've selected both, oh, perfect. We can see the legs being created. So I'm going to do that. Oh, we don't need that. So I'm going to press OK, and then that's creating a new body. So we'll get to that in a bit. And then press OK. And then both of those sketches disappeared. We don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and not construction. We're going to make those sketches appear again so that we can do the loft all over again on the other side. Press OK. Perfect. Then we can hide these sketches. And now that we have the legs, they're in the bodies. But if we want to move this component, we don't want to move both legs at once. They're each individual things. First of all, let's name them. Right leg, and then left leg. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and I'm going to press, where is it? Sorry. Create component from bodies. Then right click, create components from bodies, and now there's two different components, two individual components. Because they're two individual parts and they can move independently, like legs do, we want to make them individual components. So now we can go back up and we can activate the full component. So now we see we have a robot with circular tops of legs and it goes down to square bottoms. Perfect. So that is exactly how I want it. But now let's go ahead and make the arms. So what I'm going to do, right click, new component, arms. Let's keep the naming consistent, robot arms, and then activate. Good. So now it's activated. Now we need to make a sketch right here. And then I'm going to make a sketch that is just a line, and we'll see why we can do this later. So to begin with, because we made a sketch from the face, it by default imports all this geometry into the sketch, which means that we can create a construction line from here to here, and then we can set the distance from the top to whatever we want. I think that's about good. And now we can put the line right at the center. So see how I can go along this line, and that X tells me that as soon as I place it, it will automatically apply a coincident constraint, which means the endpoint of the line I place has to be on the first line somewhere. But if I go over here to the center, there's also that triangle, which means that it will also have a midpoint constraint, meaning it has to be at the middle of the construction line. So I can put that there, and I can define however long I want it to be. Let's say 85, and then I can define whatever angle I want. Let's say 21, and then actually let's just say 0 for now. Then I can click, and then there's the line. So let's go ahead and finish sketch. So now that we have this, I'm going to do something called revolve. No, not revolve yet. Now what I have to do, it's not revolve, it is actually sweep. So sweep, we have to make another sketch first. So I'm going to construct an offset plane. And what I can do, I can click, not an offset plane. I can go here and I can go mid plane. So if I select a mid plane and then I select my front and my back, it will make a plane right between them, which is a nice tool to have. So now that we have this, I'm going to create a sketch. And now see how I again don't have the dot. I don't have the line in there. So what I can do, I can go create, project include, project, choose the line, and then we have a point right there. Perfect. So now I can create a circle. Let's just make it about that big. And now, oh, not, I don't want a hole. Now I can go sweep, and then I select the profile, then I select the path I want it to go along. And then it will sweep right along the path. Then we're going to go operation. There's a bunch of options. We could join, we could cut, intersect, new body, new component. Cut will cut into the body, so we don't want that. Join will join it. It won't join it to the body because it's not activated. But if we had anything else, it would join it. But new component is what we want. Actually, no, not yet. We could do new component if this is the only one. But then when we copy it to the other side, then it will create a link. And we want to be able to edit them separately. So we're going to go new body. And then we are going to see this right there. So we're going to create another midplane, but this midplane is going to be between the left and the right sides. So now that we have that midplane, did you know that you can also mirror bodies? That's a really powerful tool. So we can go ahead and we can select this body and then select the mirror plane right there. And now we have a new body. Perfect. So I'm going to call this one right arm. Oh, freezes up. Gotta love Fusion. And this one we can call left arm. And now select both and go create components from bodies. So now there's two separate components for the arms, and then we can go ahead and select the top. And there we go. They're inside the body, but that's okay. That's a stylistic choice. And now, say I wanted to click on this. I could drag it around, do whatever. So we don't really want that to happen, and I'll explain how to fix that in the next tutorial. But wait, real quick, stop. Before I leave, all you got to remember at the end of everything, you have to save it. So Fusion will create backup files in case anything crashes, you forget to save, which is very useful. But to save it, press Control S, and then you can type whatever description you want. Like I could say, added arms and legs. Yay! Or I could just keep it by the default, user saved. And there you go. Now our robot has arms and legs, and we can go ahead and hide this construction plane. There we go. So in the next tutorial, I'll be showing you how to add a head, and then I will be showing you how to make sure these components can't just move around every which way. So, in that case, thank you, and good luck with all your future endeavors.